The desert can keep many secrets, but when the flames of a burning car lit up a lonely Arizona highway in April 2023, the truth it revealed was darker and more terrifying than anyone could have imagined. This is the heartbreaking case of Mercedes Vega, a young woman whose life was full of promise, ambition, and resilience, until the night she vanished and was found burned alive. In April 2023, Mercedes Vega was last seen leaving her apartment in Tempe. She was last seen around 9:15 p.m., heading to her car in the parking garage of her apartment complex. Surveillance footage captured her walking confidently toward her vehicle like any other night. But that's where things took a dark turn. She never made it to meet her friends as planned. Instead, her car turned up abandoned not far away near a spot called Culinary Dropout in Tempe, with signs that something had gone terribly wrong. Her body was found in the middle of the desert, burned alive in a vehicle. A caller reported a car on fire in the desert. He told dispatchers he could see flames inside the vehicle.
CBS 911, where's your emergency?
I just want to report a car on fire off the side, the north side of the westbound lane from Tempe, about the 85.5 mile marker. He went down in the bushes, but I saw a flame inside the vehicle.
And even more chilling, he said he saw someone standing in front of it.
You said there's people outside the vehicle?
I believe I saw at least one person outside.
How did she get there? And who could commit such a brutal crime? Mercedes was born on March 10, 2001, in Anchorage, Alaska. From childhood, she radiated energy, humor, and warmth. Her parents, Erica and Tom Pillsbury, described her as intelligent and fun-loving, with a sharp wit and an infectious laugh that could brighten any room. She was musically gifted, played violin, and even sang the national anthem at sporting events. She was also a strong swimmer who once said her soul belonged in Hawaii. When Mercedes moved with her family to Arizona, she brought that same determination into her adult life. Just 22 years old, she was living independently in Tempe, supporting herself as an exotic dancer while saving for bigger dreams, to open her own gym and work as a personal trainer. To those who knew her best, she was independent, ambitious, and strong-willed. But Mercedes also carried scars. In October 2020, she was robbed at gunpoint outside her Phoenix apartment. That terrifying ordeal left her shaken but determined. She testified against her attacker, identifying him as Kojo Yum, and provided a powerful victim statement. That courage, however, may have sealed her fate. Fast forward to April 16, 2023. It was a Sunday evening in Tempe. Mercedes planned to for dinner, but later changed her mind and decided to head to work at the club. Around 9:15 p.m., security cameras captured her walking confidently through her apartment garage toward her car. But this ordinary moment would soon become extraordinary, because she never made it to meet her friends, and she never came home. Her car was later found abandoned in a parking lot near a restaurant called Culinary Dropout. The keys were still in the ignition. To police, this suggested haste, a struggle, or worse. Evidence confirmed their suspicions. Traces of Mercedes's blood were found smeared inside the car. Meanwhile, another car, a white Chevrolet Malibu, had been seen near her garage that night. Hours later, that same Malibu was spotted far from Tempe, veering off Interstate 10 into the desert. Just after midnight, a driver reported flames shooting from a car in a ditch. Firefighters rushed to the scene, but by the time they put out the blaze, the damage was irreversible. In the back seat of the Malibu, they discovered a charred body, At first, there was hesitation to confirm the worst, but fingerprints quickly identified the victim, 22-year-old Mercedes Vega. What investigators found at the scene painted a horrifying picture. Inside the vehicle were bottles of bleach, lighter fluid, and latex gloves, clear signs of planning. The fire wasn't an accident. It was a cover-up. The horror deepened when the autopsy results came months later. Mercedes had been brutally attacked before the fire. She had a gunshot wound to her arm, blunt force trauma from repeated blows to her head, and chemical burns from bleach on her face and down her throat. But worst of all, the medical examiner determined she was still alive when the flames consumed the car. Her official cause of death: smoke inhalation and thermal injuries. She had been burned alive. Her family was devastated. Her mother, Erica, described the moment police told her the news, feeling like her soul was being ripped out. The case shocked the state of Arizona, raising urgent questions. Who could commit such a brutal act? And why target Mercedes? Detectives began piecing together her last days. They couldn't ignore the shadow of the 2020 armed robbery case. Mercedes was due to testify in court against her attacker, Kojo Young. The very next day, April 17th, 2023, could her upcoming testimony have been the motive for her murder? Investigators began tracing connections. Slowly, the puzzle came together, and the deeper they dug, sinister it became. The investigation stretched across state lines and took months to crack. But when the truth emerged, it exposed a chilling conspiracy involving just one, but three men, all linked back to the man Mercedes had once testified against. The first breakthrough came in November 2024. Police arrested Sincere Patrick Hayes, a 22-year-old from Tennessee, who was already in custody on unrelated charges. A bloody plastic grocery bag found in Mercedes' abandoned car had preserved his fingerprint, and once his prints entered the system, the match was undeniable. Hayes was extradited to Arizona, where he faced charges including first-degree murder, kidnapping, armed robbery, arson, and conspiracy to commit murder. Prosecutors announced they would pursue the death penalty, citing the cruelty of the crime and its motive, silencing a witness. But Hayes wasn't acting alone. In June 2025, detectives arrested DeMarcus Gray, another man from Tennessee. His fingerprint was found on a plastic cup inside the burned Malibu, and his cell phone records traced the same path as the car carrying Mercedes into the desert. Records showed that Hayes and Gray had even flown to Arizona together just weeks before her murder. Then, in July 2025, came the final piece: Kojo Young, the man Mercedes had identified years earlier as her armed robber. He was indicted by a grand jury and charged with orchestrating the entire plot. According to investigators, he financed the flights for Hayes and Gray, arranged for the Malibu to be obtained under a false name, and even made calls directing the operation. His motive was chillingly clear: to silence the young woman who was about to testify against him. In court, prosecutors laid out the evidence: Hayes' fingerprint, Gray's DNA, travel records tying them together, and Young's financial trail, paying for their movements like a puppet master. For Mercedes' family, it was both a relief and a heartbreak. Relief that the suspects had finally been named. Heartbreak knowing that the attack on their daughter wasn't random. It was calculated, premeditated. She was hunted. Her mother, Erica, and stepfather, Tom, attended every hearing. They described the delays in the case as agonizing, but they refused to give up. They spoke to the media, raised funds for legal costs, and kept Mercedes' name alive in the public eye. They even scattered her ashes in Hawaii and Alaska, the two places she loved most, as a way of honoring her. As of now, all three men, Hayes, Gray, and Young, remain in the grip of the legal system. Hayes faces the death penalty. Gray is awaiting extradition and trial. Young, accused of masterminding the entire plot, has pleaded not guilty and even attempted to represent himself in court. But for Mercedes's loved ones, no outcome will ever erase the pain. They lost a daughter, a sister, and a friend in the most brutal way imaginable. This case is more than just a crime story. It is a reminder of the dangers faced by witnesses who bravely stand up for justice. And it's a warning about the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of ordinary lives. In the end, Mercedes' story is one of tragedy, but also of resilience. She refused to be silent in 2020, even after facing violence. And while her life was stolen, her courage continues to shine through her family's fight for justice. This is the heartbreaking case of Mercedes Vega, a young woman whose dreams were stolen, but whose story will never be forgotten. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoy watching, please hit the like button. And if you like watching more thriller and true crime stories, make sure you subscribe our channel. See you in the next video.